Single parenting can feel like a solo journey, but it doesn't have to be. Introducing MomFlex app, the ultimate village web app designed just for you. From financial support to community connections, MomFlex app offers a lifeline, helping you navigate parenting with confidence. Find trusted resources, build your support network, and thrive, because every parent deserves a village. Join the movement today. Visit momflex.org to install the app and take the first step toward a stronger, more supported you. MomFlex app, because you're never alone.
Every day's a battle, every step we climb, but we're standing tall, we're building our lives. Through the sleepless nights and the endless fight, we rise, we shine, we hold on tight. We are more than the labels, more than the pain, breaking the cycle, rewriting the game. Stronger together, we lift, we strive. Single parents, we rise and thrive. Beyond the struggle, we rise and thrive. Turning our pain into power, we're alive. We feel you matter, you're strong inside. Together we shine, we rise, we thrive. Stories of triumph, stories of grace. Single parents with dreams to chase. They said we'd break, they said we'd fall, but look at us now, we're standing tall. We are more than the labels, more than the pain, breaking the cycle, rewriting the game. Stronger together, we lift, we strive. Single parents, we rise and thrive.
Hey there, single parents. Are you ready to take charge of your emotional well-being and reclaim your peace? Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Struggle, Rise and Thrive, the podcast where we empower single parents to rise above challenges and thrive mentally, emotionally, and financially. Today's episode is all heart and healing. We are diving into something that affects so many of us, but often stays unspoken. How to protect your child's emotional well-being while navigating single parenting. The energetic ties that keep us stuck in cycles of conflict, and how to create space for yourself even when life is full of chaos. Joining me today is the incredible Kanika Vasudiva, a Karmic records reader and energetic and conscious coach who helps parents heal emotional wounds, navigate co-parenting challenges, and connect with the soul blueprint of their children to raise empowered, resilient beings. After the heartbreaking loss of her daughter, Kanika turned to energy healing and Akashic records, uncovering the hidden pattern, karmic imprints, and generational cycles that shape how we parent and relate. Today, she guides parents to break free from inherited trauma, find peace amid legal or emotional conflict, and raise children who feel deeply seen, safe, and supported. Kanika, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, La Fortune. It is so good to be here.
Welcome. So today I'm going to start with the first segment of this conversation because I'm really I was looking forward to this conversation because I'm all about energy, healing, and all of those type of things. And I always have something to say to other single parents about how important it is to tap into your energy, to really just ground yourself. So I am looking forward to this conversation. And with that, let's start at the beginning. What was it like for you in those early days of single parenting? And how did you approach your child's emotional well-being while you were still processing your own pain?
What a lovely question. What a lovely question, because there are just so many dimensions. At the one hand, you're separating. And for me, what was going on, this is what I find with my clients as well. is that the first bit was, well, I'm separating. Obviously, there's something wrong in the relationship, which is why I'm separating. So there's, even if you're the most balanced and grounded person at that point in time, you're feeling really unbalanced. You're also finding lots of problems with your ex as such because you're doing your own inner healing, right? Like you're dealing with that. You're going like, okay, they're wrong. And it is a way of survival.
Correct.
Because first, in terms of the emotions, there's, let's say, grief at the very bottom, or there's like lack of hope. And then as you climb up to hope, you have to move from, okay, the problem lies with me to the problem lies with someone else. So that's where anger starts coming in, and that's where blame starts coming in. So it's a healthy upward trajectory. Well, healthy if you keep moving upwards.
Mm-hmm.
But there is going to be a phase in life where you will find the blame in others, whether your ex, your parents, anyone who told you anything, and so on. And sometimes in the moment that can be right, that can not be right. But that's where you are. For me, that was the point where I was separating.
Yes.
And I had my son with me. So I think I'd done a lot of work before that. And yet I was still at that place where I was still finding the problems in him. And, that time is raw because you are packing away stuff, you're separating, you've lived a life together. That is usually the point when people are separating.
Yes.
It's the first thing is when you send your child to your ex, so this is the person that you're blaming at one end, and you're sending your child away, whatever that arrangement is, for the weekend or so on. I think there was one good thing I could somehow do at that point in time before separating, and I would highly encourage parents to do as well, if they can. So what I did before separating, and I was probably in a luckier position. It was bad, but I could stay in the relationship till we had just a 2-page document. It wasn't even a legal document, but we both just wrote down certain things on how we would look after our child.
Correct.
So that included things like the drop-off times, the pick-up times. And we said things like, it was a very fair document.
Mm-hmm.
It was very much like, well, I'm not going to badmouth you. You don't badmouth me. Like just the basic principles of what you will, that's what we wrote. And very simple things that we could somehow say, okay, this is fine. And this is, after I had an agreement from him, that's when I moved away. But the basic testament, even if you cannot agree with your ex at that time because you are separating,
correct,
come to a place that, okay, I'm not going to badmouth you and you don't badmouth me, because it's a huge temptation. But what gave me solace and what continues to give my client solace is just remembering that for the child, you don't like your ex. But for the child, when they draw their family, the other parent comes in there as well.
So how do you validate your child confusion on that moment then? Like, how do you validate the confusion? And sometimes, you're not trying to blame the other parent, but how do you validate that child confusion? How do you give them space for themselves to navigate that whole, situation?
I love that question again, because again, it is so deep. And I think sometimes we can probably give kids lesser credit for what they're capable of.
Correct.
You don't need to tell them the whole story. You can tell them the truth that they need to know. It can be very factual.
Yes.
Like for us, it was a toxic separation at that time. And all I told him was, my son was also little, so I think I had the benefit there. That was like, mom and dad are not working out. We just fight a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are separating. And I'd spoken good luck to me, because I was blessed that I got to speak with a psychologist at that point in time. And I told him that, this is the situation. My son was only 4 years old at the time. And I told him, this is what I'm thinking, before I actually had the conversation with my son, just to sort of try and bounce off some questions and answers. Do it with a friend, if you can. Like, let the friend be the child, or at least practice the conversation. Just don't go in cold, even if you practice in front of a mirror. But do that. And then he said, well, what if your son says that, okay, now if we fight, Are you going to like go away from me?
Yes, they always project. So if you can leave daddy, does that mean that you're going to leave me too? Those are the questions. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I had to say, and we continued saying, and I had to tell him then as well that, hey, mommy and daddy, we were just having a lot of fights. So we are better this way. We are happy, separated.
Mm-hmm.
And this was when we were not fully separated or fully okay with each other, but we still said that. So it is okay to say statements where you want to get to, because words have a lot of power.
Oh, yeah.
You know that when you speak with your child, whatever you are telling him, her, whatever you're telling him, that is the future that you are creating. So you're not there yet, and that's okay. You're not lying.
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell them that this is the future that you want to get to. And you can reassure them that I love you now and I will love you always. And we will always be together. So that's something as best as you can do. You don't need to give them a whole lot of stories. You don't need to tell them like this happened and then this person did this and this, that. You don't need to give them that. But I think a very simple statement, it is regardless of any age. Sometimes kids, a lot of times actually, they will end up seeing certain things in the household. Like they know, even if they're very little, they know. They know that it's not happy. Kids start understanding the definition of trust or what trust is. They pick it by as early as 6 months. They've already framed the whole concept of trust.
So would you say that it's important for parents, especially single parents, to not pretend with their kids, like pretend that everything is okay, to be able to be vulnerable, not, vulnerable at the child's level, so that the child can trust that my parents is vulnerable, so I also can be vulnerable with my parent.
Absolutely. And love that insight. Yes, because this is what you're showing them. A lot of times we try and be perfect for our kids. And first of all, it puts a lot of pressure on us because we want to be perfect.
Correct.
But if you take that pressure off and you can tell them that, hey, I'm having a bad day, I'm overwhelmed, this happened, I messed up, you're giving yourself permission, but you're also giving them permission that they don't have to be perfect. Like, what a gift it is.
Correct.
What a gift it is.
Yes. Yeah, I completely agree. So how will you say, so let's talk about energy, right? Let's move on to that topic and go to, you talk a lot about energy ties in your work when I was reading it. What are they and how do they keep us in cycles of trauma with exes, with our past lovers and all those things?
Yes. And a lot of parents will relate with that because all the talk has been really good. So yes, it sounds very good in theory that don't talk bad about your ex and, don't think all that toxic stuff. But it keeps coming.
Yeah,
it comes.
It is.
Like you take your mind off, you really work to take it off. And then the minute you've sort of stopped thinking about it, you're in the shower, you're cooking, like it just comes. You'll remember something.
I know. I know, because sometimes you don't want to talk bad about your ex, but then they do something that really pisses you off and you're like, I can't believe, and you want to say all these things, but you can't because the child is there watching. But in the back of your mind, you definitely are.
Yes. And sometimes it's just those patterns. Sometimes it's that they're doing something that's so bound in the same way energetically.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of things to understand here. First of all, we have energetic cords with our partners all the time. I don't think I've ever seen anyone not having an energetic tie. For that matter, actually, we would have energetic ties with any sexual relationship that we've had, with people that, even sometimes friends or people that, were not so significant in our lives. And what we need to learn to do consciously is to break those cords. They're just energy cords. One time you shared something together. So they're just cords that connect you. This is how you link together. And sometimes they could be unhealthy, as in one person is just giving, one's taking. And so your energy might feel like it's getting drained off. Or there can be like a tug of war thing between that cord. That cord basically is, how is your connection defined? So it's a good thing to start cutting that. Just imagine that you've got the cords around you. It's a little bit like wires, and you just imagine that you have a cord with your ex and you cut it off. There's nothing wrong that you're doing there. They're adult as well. And essentially, when you cut the cord, when you imagine that you're cutting the cord, you're taking a scissor, you're cutting the cord, you drain the energy off. What you are doing is you're allowing them to have their energy. You're allowing yourself to have your energy. It's actually a win-win.
So do
A
you
lot of
think
times you'll find that when you cut the cords, like you feel a huge sense of relief, and that's where the negative thought patterns stop repeating as much. And you'll notice a difference when you keep doing it again and again. You'll notice a difference with them as well. That reaction that you were just talking about, that starts reducing.
so? Do you think that this cord can still hold resentment, guilt, shame, and fear when you are apart? Is that the reason why there is this pull and pull method between those partners, between the exes, where you are each other's throat all the time because of those cords? Is that the reason why?
Totally. That cord defines your connection. That cord defines how you're both talking, how you're both engaging. And that is not just with your ex, by the way. It is with any person. It is with us. You and me right now. How are we talking? It's with your children. It defines the relationship. How are you? And oftentimes when I'll work with my clients and I'll look, sometimes, even with our kids, we can have this thing where we feel like, well, there's sort of a love and hate relationship. I feel like my child's really getting to me for something. And often what I'll see at that time is somehow there's a pinch from the child's side. And once you start looking at the cord, you'll start realizing that, there's just something else that's happening here. And that could just be foreign energy that's impacting, that's coming in the space. And you can just clean that energy out. And when you clean that space, when you clean that connection, the whole relationship starts shifting as well. So think of it like a tap, water's coming out of it. And if, let's say, in the pipe, there's some blockage, there's some energy there, maybe, for whatever reason, it's a very old pipe. And if it's just got a lot of sand or stuff, then that's what will come out, right? That's the water. That is the water that comes out. But let's say the pipe is nice and squeaky clean. The water will come out clean and it's nice, it's drinkable. So it really depends on the state of your connection, the state of your cord, how the real connection is as well. And which is what makes energy work so powerful, because you can clean it. So it's not hard to do that, but when you pay focus to it, when you clean that, you really see the shifts in your life very quickly, very, very quickly.
So how do you guide your clients then in identifying these patterns and releasing them?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I wanted to really help out and help as many parents as I can. And that's why I've created a freebie that I think a lot of parents will love. So this freebie, what it does is it's a 3-part audio series. So I'm with you every couple of days, just for 10 minutes. The first one, we just look at the soul contracts you have with your child. So you understand why are they in your life. Yes. It's like, why are you in your child's life? Why are you their parent? Why have they chosen you? You get to understand that. And then you get to understand, okay, this is where it's at. You get to bring it at the highest alignment, because it's not a coincidence. A lot of times parents can also hold themselves guilty, like, especially if they're separating, it can be like, oh my God, what did I do to my child? But every single soul, before they incarnate, they know about the major turns in their life, or most of them. So chances are that they would have said yes to this and they knew this already as a soul. Might not remember it in the body, that's okay, but they knew it. So that's the first bit. The next bit is we look at the karmic patterns. We see what is the karma with the child. So it helps you understand the cords, exactly as we talked about. It helps you understand what is that karma that you're carrying, and it helps you clear and it helps you reset them. So it's very simple, 3-part audio series, about 10 minutes each. Very simple, easy, downloadable for parents, easy to listen on the go as well. even just before a school pickup or drop off, like very quick to reset your energy.
So you want to tell me that sometimes even the karma of my own kids will affect me as a parent?
Oh, yeah.
Because of because of
I'll
the
give you
call?
examples, right? It's always a two-way relation.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say your child wanted to come in this lifetime and wanted to work on more empathy, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And then chances are that if they want to work on more empathy, and of course it depends on how that soul is doing it, they might want to learn something. They might be certain weaknesses that they have in their life. There might be certain strengths that they have in their life. And this is why things are happening with them, so that they can learn what they're meant to learn. Yeah. And you as the parent get to see that, get to hold space for that. And so it impacts you. Absolutely, it does. You know, when your child goes to soccer or doesn't want to go to soccer, you really want them to go to soccer, but there's something happening there because that's what they want to learn and that's how you are learning. Every single thing is driven by the energy of what is the connection with your child. So like literally the cord with your child. What is the karmic pattern? Even past promises, agreements, this lifetime as well. What are the agreements that you have? A lot of times I'll see like parents have, they might not know it again in the body, but we might have agreements around, well, I want my child to come in and I want my child to be perfect. And perfect to me is defined as this child is supposed to be very obedient in a certain way, or we might feel like, well, I come from a medical family and my child has to be this and this.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? The child might not want that.
Correct.
So, that's what you want, but maybe the child doesn't want that. So there could be certain agreements that you've both agreed to. There can be certain things where this is what you feel like you've had at your end, and they're like, don't want it, not keeping it.
Oh my God.
Or the other way around, right?
That is so interesting. And because you talk about space, I want to go in creating space in the chaos. So how, for parents who are listening right now, who are overwhelmed between work, kids, everything else, how can they create space for themselves?
Absolutely. And you always start with yourself first before you do it for your child.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to offer the calmness, I need to be calm inside first.
Correct.
So with your kids, depending on how old, how young they are, how they're able to understand, I tell them that, I'm going to take a minute because I need to calm myself. And sometimes they might be sensitive because it might affect them personally, especially in the very beginning when you're just separating. It's been a very hard time for them as well. They were used to, for however the home environment was, but they were used to living with everyone. And now suddenly the world's changing for them. So you might actually find that they're very clingy at that time because you're also wanting a lot of love at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to tell them that, okay, I'm going to take some time. I'm going to just calm myself down. And it's okay. I love you right now. I'm just going to be back in like 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 15 minutes, however long you think the child can give and however you feel it's comfortable for you as well. And if it's necessary, like just go to the toilet. If your kid cannot understand that, just go to the toilet, take an extra minute in the toilet if you need to. But do that. And what you do is you ground. Like we all say, hey, this person's grounded because that energy is very different. And there's so much that language is giving us away.
Correct.
When we grounding means when we connect to the earth and really imagine that you're connected with the earth, like there's a connection going from you all the way to the center of the earth. Because the top layers of earth, even if you feel like you're grounding and it's not like really rooting you in, because that's where still all the stress is of everybody around. So you really want to imagine that you're going all the way down and just imagine that there is Earth's love because she does have unconditional love for us.
Mm-hmm.
There is no single day where we wake up, at least in our lives, and go like, well, I wondered if I'll have feet below I'll have the earth below my ground. What am I saying? I'll have the earth below my feet today, right? We never wonder that that just normal sense of walking and so on, that presence won't be there. Now, we might be living in places where things are happening, but in general, Earth is there to support us, to help us, to give us food and everything. If we have some distractions or anything there, that's caused by humans. But the Earth is always giving, always supporting, always loving, especially in those times when you feel like you're not supported, not loved.
Correct.
Know that Earth's always there. She's always watching. She's always loving. Connect with that space. Connect with her center. That center is the heart of Mother Gaia. Just imagine there's energy coming from there and flowing into you and you're getting love. Like, give that to yourself. Feel that. And then walk out. Then you can do it with others as well. So that's part one, where you imagine just the Earth very quickly, that you ground it with the Earth. Then you imagine a sun on top. So if Earth is the divine mother, he's the divine father.
Correct.
So you imagine the gold rays coming in from the sun and then filling you up. Whatever stress, whatever overwhelm you need to let go, that can go away and you can just bask in this. And you just need to do like a quick 1 minute visualization if that's all you have. You could do it even while cooking. You could sort of zone out a little bit when your kids are really getting you worked up. But you could do that quickly. But just do this and allow yourself to relax. Like, allow yourself to be their child, so that you don't feel like you're carrying all the stress and the responsibility. But also ask if you need help. Then ask that, hey, this is very hard for me. Help me out here. Help me feel happy. Like, you don't have to feel alone, but be the child with the earth and the sun. And that could be the easiest and the best way to feel grounded, to feel supported, to feel calm. Just this simple shift makes a huge difference.
I love this part because it's so practical and transformative, right? So we think we need like hours of self-love, but just listening to what you have to say, it really is just the intention, the intentionality to just get up and really take the time to, communion with nature, right? So that you can basically replenish your energy and replenish yourself as a person.
Yeah, and if you can, it is great. If you can do it outside, that is great. If you can't do it outside, like literally, just do it in the toilet. If you feel like your kids are not leaving you, actually talk to them as well in just language that they'll understand. And you tell them that, hey, I'm just thinking of the earth and I'm thinking that she's holding me. And you can do it with them as well while they're doing it. And you can tell them, well, now the sun's giving me these lovely rays, because also what you're doing at this time is you're teaching them to be calmer as well.
Correct.
You're really telling them your tools, even if you're learning them, it's okay. Just a step in the right direction is okay. It's better than being ungrounded. It's better than not having that space at all. But it's a lovely tool that you can give to yourself and to them.
That actually brings us to our empowerment through healing, right? So that is grounding. Kanika, what's one message you want every single parent listening to take away from this episode today?
Well, I'm just tuning into the group's energy and just seeing what everyone wants to hear. Yeah, so first, there's just a lot of sense around just being ungrounded, as if also that you're feeling a lot of emotions inside. That's what I'm tuning into for the group. Like, there's just emotions. It's all well and good, understanding that you don't talk bad about your ex, but you're still dealing with all this stuff. There's all the hurt that you've got stored inside, which is what I'm picking up. And the question still is, well, how do I let go of all that? Because that's in there. And what you could do, again, intentions is all at me. You don't need to be perfect. Sometimes people can think, well, what if I do wrong? It does not matter. You could not try and do these things wrong. However, energy works for you. However, that imagination works for you. It's absolutely okay. I do it time and time again with so many clients. There's no wrong way. Like, there's just no wrong way. So don't take the pressure. But just imagine that you've got all this bucket of emotions, which is your hurt, which is everything. And just look at that water if you want to, and that might be dirty, that might even be smelly, that might look like whatever it is, and take it and just spill it over. just give it to the earth and just say, hey, can you take it away? And she is actually really ready to just take all those emotions away, whatever those heavy emotions are. Do that exercise. And then you could even just take the whole container that contains those old emotions, and you could just give it to fire. So that fire is very cleansing. So it just goes and burns away in fire. And you're just doing a very quick imagination. If you want to do this again and again because you're still feeling hurt and you're still like, that time this happened, I could have done this. Take all of that, take all those emotions, imagine that in the water container, spill it over, burn the whole container, and just tell yourself that I'm free. It's a new time now. And tell yourself, this is what I'm wanting. This is what I'm wanting to get for myself. But allow yourself to come into the new place, and you'll start feeling the shift. So that's one thing, that wherever you feel like you're emotional with stuff, wherever you feel like there's still stuff to let go, you can always set your intention and just work with it that way.
Well, thank you, Kanika. This has been such a healing conversation. So many golden nuggets for our listeners. And if you are a single parent tuning in right now, just remember, the more you nurture your inner peace, the more your child will grow up knowing that even in life's hardest moments, love and light are always possible. Kanika, let me ask you, where can listeners find you if they want to learn more?
So they can find me at Kanika Energy Coach on Instagram or LinkedIn. I'm always there to help you with any questions. My website is artoflifecenter.com. So that is art, A-R-T, because I really believe in keeping it simple, nice and simple, the way it integrates with our life. And center is CENTER.com. That's where you'll find all my stuff. That's where you'll find all the freebies as well. The soul contracts and the karmic contract part, that you can find at artoflifecenter.com/parent. So just go on there, and it's a lovely 3-part series. I really think you will enjoy it if it calls to you.
Great. So you are in Australia. What day of the week is it right now in Australia?
It's the same as the US. It's just early morning for me right now.
Early morning. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. And we will link everything in the show notes so that every listener will be able to find your information. So before we go, I want to leave you with this quote. When you heal yourself, you don't just heal your past. You heal your lineage. You give your children a new legacy, one of peace, power, and presence. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming, Kanika. It was lovely to have you today. So thank you for listening to Beyond the Struggle. Rise and thrive. Take a breath. Trust the process and keep rising. Until next time. Ciao now.
Single parenting can feel like a solo journey, but it doesn't have to be. Introducing MomFlex app, the ultimate village web app designed just for you. From financial support to community connections, MomFlex app offers a lifeline, helping you navigate parenting with confidence. Find trusted resources, build your support network, and thrive, because every parent deserves a village. Join the movement today. Visit momflex.org to install the app and take the first step toward a stronger, more supported you.
Every day's a battle, every step a climb, but we're standing tall, we're building our lives. Through the sleepless nights and the endless fight, we rise, we shine, we hold on tight. We are more than the labels, more than the pain, breaking the cycle, rewriting the game. Stronger together, we lift, we strive. Single parents, we rise and thrive. Beyond the struggle, we rise and thrive. Turning our pain into power, we're alive. We see you, you matter, you're strong inside. Together we shine, we rise, we thrive. Stories of triumph, stories of grace. Single parents with dreams to chase. They said we'd break, they said we'd fall, but look at us now, we're standing tall. We are more than the labels, more than the pain, breaking the cycle, rewriting the game. Stronger our pain into power, we're alive. We see you matter, you're strong inside. Together we shine, we rise with pride. The journey is tough, but we're not alone. In this village we found